All right, everyone. Are we ready for this discussion? I don't know if you are. Anyways, let me go ahead and get us set up. There we go. Hey, everyone. Spidey Librarian here, and welcome to a trailer analysis for Spider-Man Brand New Days first official trailer drop. And oh my wow, is there a lot to show here. Now, first of all, before we really get underway, a couple of things. One, I am sorry for being late. I'm like 10 minutes late. And the reason that I am 10 minutes late is because life just kept happening to me after work. I had to get gas. I had to deal with an issue with trouble. I had to do a bunch of things. I had to eat. And so life just keeps getting in my way, and it's just like, oh my God, am I ever going to get to any of my live streams on time anymore? So, I have not had a chance to set up the trailer or anything like that. So I'm going to be doing that while we're talking here. But I want to hear from you guys. Okay, first of all, let's not pretend that we have not already watched this a zillion times today. Okay, I I, like I knew it was coming because they had said it's going to drop Wednesday. And so I'd started this week thinking I was going to play Red Dead Redemption tonight, and I still might, depending on how long the stream goes. But I've got other stuff to do too, so maybe I won't. I don't know. And then I was like, I should wait and react to this trailer live, but I couldn't stop myself. And then I was just like, no, I need to watch this. And I was like, okay, all right, but I still want to do something special for the trailer tonight. Because I really don't do trailer reactions anymore. I'm sure you guys have noticed. I don't really do trailer reactions anymore. And I got several reasons for that. I'll tell them to you if you really want to know, but I don't really think it's that important. I just don't do them anymore. And so after I watched the trailer, and then I watched it again, and then I watched it again, I just kind of figured out, here's what I should do. I should put the trailer on for you guys. And what we're going to do is I'm going to stop at various sections of the trailer, and then I'm going to talk about certain scenes and everything and tell you guys what I'm getting from these trailers or from these parts of the trailer, what it means to me as both a Spider-Man fan and someone who loves movies and also someone who reads the Spider-Man comics. So I'm looking forward to this, but I'm still kind of getting things underway. In fact, I'm trying to set up the window right now while we're talking, and I'm just not doing a very good job. But yeah, so I'm sure you guys have seen it, and I would like to know your thoughts in the chat. So just go ahead and pop off in the chat. Tell me what you think. I am going to grab the official trailer from. Is there one from Marvel's website or website? Their channel maybe. Hold on. I want the Marvel Entertainment one. And then where is it? Okay, Marvel Entertainment, what is your problem? Why do you not have this trailer at the top of your channel? Like that's just dumb on their part. All right? I'm not the greatest YouTuber ever. And in fact, there's probably still plenty that I have to learn about YouTube, even after having done it for as long as I have. But why is this trailer not at the top of your channel? Like, put it there. It will help drive traffic to your channel. Dumb. That's just dumb. All right. Okay. So I'm just gonna go ahead and click the trailer. We'll go ahead and just pause it, and then hopefully no, no, no. I don't want you to play. I didn't say play, did I? I did not. There we go. Okay, all right. So let me go ahead and just grab this URL and pop it into the feed. And yeah, I'll check in with you guys in a moment. Give me just a moment. The window is going to be it's certainly not that one. Okay, where is the all right, hold on. I guess it's been a while since I've done this because it's being dumb. Okay, window capture. Don't you do this to me. There we go. Spider-Man brand new day trailer. We'll go ahead and get that going. All right. Okay, and you guys are talking. I appreciate it. Okay. So everybody's saying hello. I appreciate it. Mesozoic says that when the trailer dropped, you were the first person I saw. Yeah, dude, and I got your message this morning. It's funny because I sent a screenshot of your message going, "Yo, Spidey Librarian," to some of my coworkers because my coworkers were already talking about the trailer when I woke up this morning. And one of them's like, "Oh, I know someone who's watched this already." And I'm like sitting here, I'm sitting here, I've got like half an eye open, and I haven't watched it yet, but I'm gonna get there. And then I saw your message on Discord. I'm like, yes, yes. So thank you to my viewers, those of you who pointed it out, especially Mesozoic. Let me see. Time is relative, especially when you're recording a VOD. Yeah. Let's see. Wally fan watched it as soon as I posted. Marshland just shared this on his community page. Thank you so much, my friend. I appreciate you so much. Thank you. How have you been? I feel like it's been a minute since I've seen you here. Wolf is here. Thank you for being here, Wolf. Let's see. The suspense was too much. All right. Mesozoic says that he's seen it and pretty interested. He says the directing looks a bit lifeless and Scorpion's design is pretty meh, but you're definitely interested to see where this goes. I, you know, I I'll comment on that when we get to it. But yes, I understand some of the criticisms that people have leveled at this. Wally fan says that they look good, especially if you look at some of the comics. Yeah, um, I understand that perspective as well. Wolf says Wolf has a theory that he hasn't seen discussed yet, and he's wondering if I'll bring it up, waiting until I play it. Okay, I'll be interested to know what that is. All right. Marshlands says that the only thing he's slightly mixed on is bringing back Ned and MJ. I don't have a problem with it. Peter cares deeply for the people in his life, and I would, if they had just not been in the movie at all with nary even a mention, that would concern me more than them showing back up. So, all right. Marshlands is slightly cautious regarding the inclusion of Bruce Banner. Not sure if it's a good idea having Hulk in the movie where the villains are Boomerang, Tarantula, Tombstone, the Scorpion, and the Hand. Okay. PlayStation had the trailer, so is hinting to the past Spider-Man games or a future one. Really? I didn't get that. So 2026 has been interesting so far. You are not kidding about that, my friend. Well, I hope things are going well. Let's go ahead and we're gonna do a little bit of legwork here. So, my apologies for what is about to. Hold on, Trouble. I think Trouble wants out. I'm gonna let her out. Hold on. I don't have to go. Okay, I'm sorry about that. Trouble wanted water. Okay, all right. So, apologies for what I'm about to do here, but I'm going to open up the. Wow, that is not the window I want you guys to see. I want you to see this window, and of course, that means I can't see. There we go. I just moved it to a different monitor. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit the full screen here. There we are. Okay. And now I need to do a little bit of doctoring. So I'm going to go ahead and play with this for a moment. I would have set all this up ahead of time, but I just have not had the time today. I was at work until about 6:30, and then I just kind of had a bunch of other stuff to deal with when I got home. So here we are. So, okay. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and minimize myself right about here. And I realize I'm probably going to have to rework this stage, this scene once we're done here. But there we are. We got the window, and I'm going to confuse you guys for just a second, and I'm going to bring up I'm going to make this go here. I am going to grab the live stream and bring it over here so that way I can see you guys while I'm working on this, because I don't know what you're saying while I've got it on the view that I've had. So there we go. All right. Okay. All right. Mesozoic says the thing that caught him was the mutation part, and he was like, "Oh my God, are we doing man spider?" Don't get too ahead of yourself. I know that everyone has got a theory about everything in this trailer. I get it. Speculation is just at a fever pitch. I understand. Keep your heads, Padawans. Keep your heads. We got this, okay? All right. Let's see. Marshland says that Ned and MJ depends on the execution. He hopes that we're not immediately reversing the ramifications and consequences of No Way Home. All right. Jurassic Man Spider has been heavily rumored. Oh God. Keep your heads. Keep your heads. All right. I don't want to be the one to do this. I don't want to dash the hopes of all of you Man Spider people, but I don't think it's going that way. I'm just going to say that right here and now. So, okay, so we could do this setup if you guys like this. I will be in part of the trailer, or what we could do is I could go over to the Film First Friday relay, and we would still have that same issue. I don't know. What do you guys think? Because I could do the same thing over here, and maybe I don't know. I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna make a couple of filter changes real quick. I'm gonna go ahead and do this. And we can do more than that. 500. And 500 more. There we go. Oh, heck, we could make that even smaller. All right, Wolf says the first one is fine. What do you guys think? Tell me, or I'm going to keep working on this. Because we can do this, and then we can move me over here. Oh, dear God. Sorry, I'm terrible at this. Don't make fun of me. See, we could move me here, and then we could put the the trailer over there. I'm going to hold on. I'm covering that lettering. God damn it! So maybe the trailer where see that's kind of the intent here. It just takes a moment to set it up. So give me just a second, and I will do this. Window capture, Spider-Man Brand New Day, takes up the whole screen because that's what it does. Okay. All right. We'll move things over to here. Okay. All right. What do you guys think of this? Do you like this setup? Will this work for you? All right. All right. I think I'm going to go with this unless you guys just like mass protest all of a sudden. I think this is the way I want to do it. So, all right. Okay. So, before we do that, I'm going to go back over here and I'm going to correct this part and get it to where, cause you guys, you guys know what I'm probably going to do with this. I'm going to try to set it up so that, um, like after this live stream, once I get like a video cut where I can actually put in visual aids when I'm making some of my points, I'll probably then make this live stream uh, the unedited live stream for members only. But right now it's not. You guys hang out, you know. So we're gonna go ahead and do that. So all right, okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and do like a little intro, and then we'll get into it. Okay. All right. And don't let me start talking about the trailer, like really getting into it until we get to the overlay. All right. So don't do that. Pop off in the chat if I start talking about the trailer in depth and you still see this, right? You just see my ugly mug. Okay. All right. That's all we got to do. So, I don't know. I don't know what the hell. Like you can do so much and you can still get copyright claimed. So I don't know. And at this point, I don't care. I want to talk about this trailer. So, all right, okay. Um, Wally fan, all you have to do is just Google man spider, and I'm sure you'll find plenty. So, yeah, my man spider is an entire thing. Think Spider-Man more horror-y, I guess, than anything, and that's pretty much what you got. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and just get into it, do a little intro, and then we will start talking about the trailer. All right, you guys ready? I hope you're ready for this. I've been excited. Like after I watched the trailer like 3 times, I'm like, okay, I need to do a live stream about this. So I've been really, really excited. Okay, so let's go ahead and get to it. All right, here we go. Hey everyone, Spidey Librarian here, and welcome to a film first kind of sub show called Trailer Analysis. Sorry, I am really happy to come to you today with an analysis and a close look at the official trailer for Spider-Man Brand New Day. All right, I'm going to do part of that again because I was rubbing my eyes during that. Sorry. Okay, let's try it again. Here we go. Hey everyone, Spidey Librarian here, and welcome to a film first sort of sub show here. It's called Trailer Analysis. It's where we are going to take a look at a trailer and sort of explore what the trailer might be suggesting, analyze it, and just kind of get a general vibe on what the trailer is going to portend for the movie. For today's edition, I am very happy to bring you a trailer analysis of Spider-Man Brand New Day's official trailer, which just dropped today. This one is near and dear to my heart. Many of you already know Tom Holland is my favorite Spider-Man, and I love all the other ones, so don't at me. So another Spider-Man movie starring Tom Holland is something I'm very, very excited about. Especially after the way that No Way Home ended. I was very interested to know what the continuation was going to be for that story. So we're going to take a look at So we're going to take a look at the official trailer for Spider-Man No Way Home, and we're going to do that in just a moment. If you enjoy this kind of reaction and analysis, please, if you enjoy this kind of trailer reaction and analysis, please thwip the like button and consider subscribing if you haven't already. Also, consider sharing this out with your friends, your family, your followers, anyone that you think would enjoy my reaction to these kinds of media. In this case, Spider fans, fans of Marvel, fans of superheroes. It's all good. Let me think. Oh, okay. And whether you like or dislike this trailer, let me know why in the comments. I would love to discuss this film with you. All right, and I think with all that said, we're going to go ahead and get started talking about the trailer for Spider-Man Brand New Day. Now, what I'm going to do is I am going to just play the trailer and I'm going to stop a lot. So if you're not someone who likes YouTubers who watch a trailer, stop it, and then talk about it, you just want to watch them react to the trailer as it plays, I'm not going to be doing that today. That's a trailer reaction. Those get copyright claimed a lot. And frankly, I figure by putting this into shorter bits, we stand a larger chance of avoiding that. But in any case, there's a whole lot that has gone into this trailer that I'm just like, I want to talk about some of this stuff. So we're going to go ahead and do that. All right. So with that said, we're going to go ahead and jump over to this interface, or sorry, this overlay right here. And we're going to get things going, all right? So let's go ahead and watch at least a few seconds of this before I stop and continue talking, all right? Okay. You know what? Yeah, I'm going to jump back over here real quick, sorry. All right, so let's get started talking about this trailer. Here we go. All right, and now that I've got that, I can actually just start it now. I need that shot so that I can throw in the thwip effect in post-production. Okay. All right. So here we go. Let's check it out.
I can't believe our first hit MIT.
Okay.
Come on, pretend like you're not the happiest you've ever been in your entire life.
Okay.
I can't.
All right. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and pause right here. Okay. So we've got a very clear idea now of some of the fallout from No Way Home that we're going to be exploring. Peter, even though this Peter is not Andrew Garfield, he is still in some ways stalking his friends. Back during Andrew Garfield's movies, this kind of social media was not ever prevalent as it is today. So Peter has a way of keeping tabs on his friends as long as they are, they are taking part in things like TikTok and other social media. So he has his way of kind of keeping an eye on them without having to directly interact with them. I know some people will have an issue with this, and I get it. I understand. There are probably some people that want MJ and Ned gone and, just let Spider-Man be Spider-Man. And I get that. I also think you're already gonna get that with this movie. I really do. I think that Peter is a character who cares very much for the people in his life. And due to a lot of the circumstances surrounding what happened in No Way Home, he did what he did to protect them, including making the choice not to reveal who he was to them. So I think that this setup serves a couple of purposes. One, and again, this is just speculation on my part, all right? Remember that from any YouTuber, guys. Okay, this is all speculation. But I do think this serves at least two good, this sets up two interesting premises. The first one is that we're seeing that Peter is still very much, he cares very much for the two people that are left in his life at this point, even if they don't remember him. All right, that to me speaks a lot to who Peter Parker is, who Spider-Man is, and I think this is kind of an essential emotional and narrative through line for this story. Okay. I think the second premise it sets up is the kiss from MJ at the end of No Way Home, when she basically told him, you better come and tell me who you are, because if you don't, I'll figure it out again. I've already done it once. Honestly, I think that's what's going to happen. I honestly think that MJ is going to, be it through the fact that she's just so darn smart and she's just so darn determined, or, or Peter subconsciously helping her because he wants her back and everything. I think they're going to find their way to each other. And I think that this, this him being unable to just cut them out of his life completely, I think hints to that. So, moving on. I love this shot right here. This is amazing. Okay. We see Peter's eyes, and then we see like a cutaway of the mask. To me, this is very comic book. Um, it 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 seems like they were trying to go for the whole Tony Stark in the Iron Man helmet like look, but they went really close up, and it's like, well, the mask is against his face, so they just kind of went with like this comic book like kind of cutaway showing where his eyes are in relation to the mask. I think this is fantastic. I think that this is a really nice nod back to maybe not a specific comic book, but a kind of, just comic books, the medium in general. We've all seen the panels of Amazing Spider-Man where Peter will, he'll be thinking about something. Somebody will be telling him something as Peter Parker. And so you'll see Peter just kind of in his civilian clothes. Excuse me. But then you'll see like the line going halfway down his face, and you'll see the Spider-Man mask on the other side, and he's like putting things together as Spider-Man, even though he's hearing it as Peter Parker. I love this shot. To me, is kind of like a, maybe not a direct homage to that, but a pretty close one. I really liked it. Okay.
Hi.
I know nothing about the music, so.
You don't remember me, but we used to know each other.
Now, I think right
Something
here,
bad was gonna-
so here's what I think. He's talking to himself. I think what he's been doing is he has been rehearsing the letter that he wrote to MJ, and probably by extension to Ned as well. That scene where Ned walked by him, and then you see Peter smiling at him, just like kind of longingly, like that's my best friend there, like, and I can't even say hello to him, like. I mean, I'm getting emotional just thinking about being in that kind of a situation. Think of your best friend. Think of your brother from another mother, or your sister from another mister, or whatever. And, like, imagine all the things that you've been through with them. Imagine having all of that life, that shared history between the two of you, and then suddenly they don't know who you are anymore, and you can't tell them who you are because you think that you're protecting them by doing so. It's just one of those things where it's like, this is a situation where if you really can empathize with someone about it, it's actually it's a heartbreaking situation to think about. I also think, I'm going to go back just a couple of seconds here. I think this shot right here, I think this shot of Peter doing laundry by himself is also just like, the first time I saw that, I was like, no, man, somebody adopt this person, adopt this boy, like somebody get him some friends, Um, I really think that at the very tail end of No Way Home, they did a really good job of pointing out just how lonely Peter's life was going to be. They did that by showing the fact that Happy didn't recognize him when they were at May's grave. They showed it by him, getting his first apartment and just like the landlord just telling him, rent's due at the first of the month, don't be late. And it's just him and a box and this tiny little, closet of an apartment. And that's it. That's all he has at that point. And so this is a continuation of that. And it's just like, oh my God. Like I remember that was a gut punch when I saw him in that apartment by himself. It was like, oh God, why? And this is more of that to me. This is more of that, oh my God, this poor kid, this poor guy. I'd also like to make a comment here about the time frame of when Brand New Day occurs. It is my personal belief that Brand New Day occurs like in the fall following the events of No Way Home. And I think it's important to keep that in mind because for a couple of reasons. One, it's been 4.5 years since No Way Home. It's actually been quite a while. You could have had someone in the space between when No Way Home released and when Brand New Day releases. You could have had someone go off to college or a 4-year school of whatever kind and graduate all before Brand New Day comes out, Now I realize that, academic calendars being what they are and how this, how these things tend to work, it doesn't work out quite that way. I'm talking about just the raw number of years and the raw number of time, or the raw amount of time that has passed between this. Another thing is that MCU movies, which this is, they usually, not always, but they usually tend to take place in or around the year that they are filmed. I personally think that this is still taking place in what, 2023, 2024? I don't actually recall what year No Way Home was supposed to take place in, but I do think it's worth keeping that in mind because I think that, given the nature of the TikTok that Ned was making, that was like them about to go off to MIT, So, yeah. All right. Okay, let's go ahead and move on.
Something bad was going to happen, and the only way to stop it was to make everyone forget about me.
Okay, so that's, of course, a direct reference to the events of No Way Home. Something bad was going to happen. Yeah, their entire reality would have been flooded with people from other dimensions, from other multiverses, who would have known that Peter Parker is Spider-Man. So who knows what kind of geodimensional catastrophe that would have caused. It might have destroyed the sacred timeline. All we know is that it probably would have been real bad. And the only way to fix it, at least from Peter's point of view, was to just make the entire world forget about him. And so that's how we eventually get the kind of self-actualized Spider-Man that we're going to get in this movie, and that I feel like way too many people think that we should have had a long time ago. And I will die on this hill with those of you. Peter Parker is Tony Stark Jr. in the MCU. I will die on this hill with you guys. You could not have reasonably expected to get this version of Spider-Man that we are getting now in the MCU in the, when it had already been in existence for 10 years. Narratively, logically, there's no way that could have happened. The way that it happened in Captain America Civil War is exactly the way that it should have happened in the MCU. You're getting what you want. It took a little time, but in my opinion, it was worth the wait, and you guys were way too impatient about that. I will die on that hill with anyone who tries to argue the whole Tony Stark Jr. thing with me. Don't even get into that fight with me. And I mean that. You come at me in the comments, I will mute your comment. Don't do it. Okay, all right. I like this shot right here of Ned and MJ because Ned is looking at the TV and he just he just kind of seems to be watching it. He's like, oh, okay, this is interesting, da 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 da. MJ appears to be looking at it, and there seems to be something going on between her, or behind her gaze. And I was left with the feeling at the end of No Way Home that MJ, Peter had said the whole, what she had said about, trying to, what was it? Expect the worst and you'll never be disappointed. Like, he said that to her. That was a thing that she had said to him before. And so when he said it to her, she kind of looked up at him like, do I know you? Are you a complete stranger? And so I'm wondering every time she sees Peter, if that is what is going on. If she's replaying that moment going, do I know you? Like, my brain is telling me that I don't know you, but something else is telling me that I might. And so I'm naturally hyper fixated on just about anything that MJ says or does in this movie. So, all right, moving on.
Because I'm not just Peter Parker.
All right. So I'm going to go ahead and just say it right now. I am pretty sure that Spider-Man getting the keys to the city is going to be some factor in someone discovering that Peter Parker is Spider-Man. I don't know if it's going to be MJ. I don't know if it's going to be one of the villains. I do not know. All I know is that we've seen that thing twice. Once when Spider-Man gets it, and then once when Peter Parker is holding it. And to me, you don't put these things in a film or a trailer even unless they have meaning. And so I have a feeling that key to the city that Spider-Man got is going to play a part in exposing Peter as Spider-Man to someone. I don't know who, but I think it will be to someone. All right? And then, yay, we get the jump into the web. Okay. All right.
Frank, you just hit me with a van.
Okay, all right. Okay, loved this part right here. So first of all, dynamic web swinging shot. I'm Spider-Man. Yes, of course he is. And I'm always here for those shots. But then we see the artillery firing at him. We see him swing like into a car, stand up, and then he gets he gets hit by a van that the Punisher is driving. Okay. All right. Okay. So, and I want to talk about this. All right. So, first of all, the appearance of the Punisher in Spider-Man is chef's kiss to me. Okay. Mwah. It's perfect. And here's why. Here are some things that you may not know if you haven't read the comics. First thing that you ought to know is that Frank Castle, the Punisher, his first appearance was in Amazing Spider-Man number 129, I believe. That issue is 8 issues after Gwen Stacy is killed by the Green Goblin, and 7 issues after the Green Goblin himself is impaled and killed by his own glider. At least he was gone for a couple of decades and then he came back. So, but yeah, the Punisher originated in a Spider-Man comic. I know that the Punisher is mostly associated with Daredevil, and I tend to agree that he is a better foil for Daredevil. But I also like that in the previous Spider-Man movie, we got Charlie Cox, we got Matt Murdock, and now in this movie, we've got Frank Castle. And it looks like he and Spidey have already got this kind of antagonistic relationship. And I love it because there's already that familiarity with Peter going, "What the hell, Frank? You just hit me with a van," you know? And and then Frank is just like, "Stop your whimpering." It's like they know each other. It's like they're brothers who don't get along, you know? It's like, "Yeah, shut up," you know? "Hey, what are you doing? Oh, come on," you know? But Peter and, well, Spider-Man and the Punisher have always had that same kind of philosophical difference that Daredevil has with the Punisher. The thing is that Spider-Man's got powers and the Punisher does not, okay? And that, I'm not saying that the Punisher couldn't beat Spider-Man in a fight. I don't think he could beat Spider-Man in a fair fight, but the Punisher does not fight fair, okay? And so I think there's at least part of him that recognizes, kind of like with Daredevil, that what Spider-Man is doing is useful. And while he doesn't take the same approach, he's not going to out and out try to kill Spider-Man like he would with another supervillain. And so I really like his inclusion here. And I really like this, again, this kind of comedic antagonistic relationship they've got. That to me is just wonderful.
Quit your whimpering.
Quit your whimpering, you know? Okay, and this, love that. Paused it right where I wanted to. Okay. Yeah, Frank, you don't get the F-bomb in this movie, all right? If that goes to anyone, it's going to go to Peter, all right? Anyways, again, they're just like, they're fighting each other, but like, you know, Punisher, like whatever he hit him with, it clearly wasn't lethal, okay? Even through his webs, though, it's still pushed him back. And again, it's the whole antagonistic brothers relationship, you know? And this line, I think, that you're about to hear, I think means a lot. Watch this.
Go home.
Peter is just like, you know, you are a nuisance. I don't care if you're trying to fight crime. You're clearly not on my level. Go home. Like, it's very much like you get this feeling, at least I do. I get the feeling that Peter has put Frank in his place one or two times already before this event that we see on screen here. So anyways, love that entire relationship right there. Like that, what was that? 10, 15, 20 seconds of the Punisher. Loved it. That was fantastic. Let's go ahead and move on.
And sometimes Spider-Man has to do the hard thing.
Okay, yeah.
It breaks Peter Parker's heart.
Now, I think that is an interesting piece of dialogue right there, okay? First of all, okay, we see MJ, she's getting hit on by another guy at a party. We see Peter just letting it happen, even though he clearly doesn't want it to. He wants to be that other guy. And it's interesting because I get a lot of, like, I always see a lot of, how to put this? Like, sometimes in a heroic narrative, I will see people talking about, you know, the hero doing his best impression of Peter Parker. And usually what that entails is, I'm not going to be with this person because I'm trying to protect them. Sacrificing, you know, his happiness for, sacrificing his happiness for their safety. That kind of thing. And I really like that we get a distinction, at least in Peter's mind here. We get a distinction between Spider-Man is doing this even though Peter Parker doesn't want him to the point where it breaks his heart. It's a perspective that I hadn't really considered because I tend to think of Peter Parker and Spider-Man as the same people. But that might not always be the case, and I think this is a very clever allusion to it. All right? Let's go ahead and continue.
What is happening to me?
Okay. Peter is undergoing Well, he's going through it. Okay. Okay, this shot right here, I want you guys to know this, all right? To my everlasting shame, I did not notice this the first time I watched it, all right? Because I'm going to be perfectly honest with you here, okay? I was too busy looking at Tom Holland's physique and going, Jesus God, this guy is cut, you know? I used to be similarly built, all right? And I look okay. All right, I look okay with my shirt off. All right, you guys are never going to see it, but I do not look that good. Okay, and Tom Holland and I are about the same size. Actually, I might be slightly taller than him, but we're about the same size and build. And so I'm just looking at him going, Jesus, my God, I need to hit the gym more often, you know. But in any case, I did not at first grasp the significance. He's not wearing web shooters, all right? He is not wearing his mechanical web shooters. He's not wearing them at all. And then he's about to fall. And then look at this. He caught something, all right? Now the implication here, hold on, I'm going to go back just a couple of frames because this black screen is not that interesting. All right. And again, I was looking at his physique going, Jesus, I need to get to the gym. Okay. Anyways, he's hanging on by something. All right. And I'm pretty sure that his arm is a little pointed up a little too much for you to basically go, oh no, he's hanging off a windowsill by his hands. No, guys. No. The implication of this is that he has basically evolved organic web shooters, all right? Now, I feel a number of ways about this because, you know, I am always personally going to prefer the mechanical web shooters to the organic web shooters, all right? And I've gotten into way too many arguments with way too many people online about this, which is better. You know what? Here's the way I see it. I like what I like. You like what you like. We all have our very legitimate reasons for liking them. And, you know, I'm not going to sit here and say that organic web shooters suck. I don't think they suck. I do think the mechanical web shooters are more thematically appropriate to who Peter Parker is. They also have the benefit of being the original thing. So, you know, but here's the thing. The organic web shooters are from the comics. They actually are from the comics. Way back in the early 2000s, when the Tobey Maguire movies were coming out, they did a storyline, I believe it's called The Other, and I believe that is where they decided to give Peter Parker organic webs instead of his mechanical web shooters. Now, the reason that they did this over at Marvel Comics is because they were attempting to bring their comic book Spider-Man more in line with the Tobey Maguire movie Spider-Man counterpart, who, of course, was enjoying a lot of popularity because Spider-Man had come out. Spider-Man was very successful. And this, to a lot of people who didn't read the comics, this is what Spider-Man was to them. A lot of Spider fans have grown up thinking that Spider-Man originally had organic web shooters. And this is not the actual case, but at least to them emotionally, it is the case. And so I'm not going to yuck anyone's yum about that. I think that if your preference is organic webs, great, go for it. I understand why. I get it. For probably similar emotional reasons, though, for me, it's always going to be the mechanical web shooters. So, all right. So but yeah, this shot right here, it comes from The Other. I don't remember what the numbering is for Amazing Spider-Man for that. I want to say it's somewhere in the 400s. I don't think I've read The Other. I need to read that. So, but that's what this is from, and that's kind of the history behind, you know, Tom Holland here finally possibly getting organic web shooters. This summer. Okay. hold on. Before we talk about Dr. Banner here, that whole Peter getting into the X-ray machine and everything, so that recalls a couple of things for me. All right. First of all, when Peter got the symbiote in the comics and realized that it was an alien organism that was trying to bond permanently with him, he went to Mr. Fantastic and got it removed forcibly, okay? Or no, he didn't get it removed forcibly. They ran tests on him. They ran all kinds of tests on him. And I don't remember seeing him in a scanner, but whenever I saw that scanner thing, I was like, oh, did the symbiote find him? Now, that's probably not what's going on here. I'm going to guess that, because we did see a piece of symbiote at the end of No Way Home, at the very, 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 very tail end of it, okay? I don't know that the symbiote has necessarily found and tried to bond with Peter yet. I'm not saying that it hasn't. It could have. But there's nothing more in this trailer to suggest that that's what's happened. I think that Peter is basically concerned with whatever is going on with his body at this point, and is basically seeking out help and trying to scan himself to get some data on it. And of course, that leads him to Professor Bruce Banner here. All right. So let's proceed a couple of seconds forward here.
Banner, I need your help.
What did you say your name was?
Okay, damn. Ouch. What'd you say your name was? Okay. Now, I know. It's not like Peter and Bruce Banner shared any dialogue in any of the Avengers or Captain America or Spider-Man movies in the MCU. I get that, okay? But we need to keep a couple of things in mind here, okay? First of all, Peter, like, people were going to know who Peter was. Avengers were going to know who Peter was, all right? Because Iron Man knew who he was. And if nothing else, I think during at least one of the trailers, we saw a kind of montage, slow-moving montage of photographs of people who were allegedly lost during the blip, okay? And Peter Parker was one of them. Like, we saw Tom Holland there. All right, so there is reason to at least believe that Bruce Banner, the Hulk, whoever, at least there was a good shot that he may have known who Peter Parker was, okay? Another thing to keep in mind is that I want to say it's Peter Parker. I believe he had a picture of Bruce Banner among a wall of like some of his favorite scientists, including like Albert Einstein, Isaac Newton, you know. So like there was definitely, like, it was never stated, but if you kind of look at the scenery and try to read between the lines, you know, if you've got a poster of your favorite, you know, rock band or movie star or something, like, there's definitely going to be a reason that you know, would seek them out for, you know, something in their field. And so I think at the very least, Peter knows and admires Bruce Banner. And I think there's at least a chance that Bruce Banner should know, or at least should have known, who Peter Parker was. So anyways, I want to go back just a couple of frames here because I want to take I want to look at yeah, look at Bruce Banner's hand right here, guys. Look at it. It's still in some kind of a brace or a cast or something, okay? And if I remember correctly, that's the hand that did the snap, okay? I really like that they are at least, you know, in a surface manner, very surface manner, they're at least trying to account for, you know, past events that have happened. And, you know, like we saw Bruce Banner, like, I think wasn't his arm in a sling at one point. And then, you know, he showed up in She-Hulk, and there was, you know, they explained kind of why why he got better and everything. But like, I like that human Bruce Banner here is at least in some ways still kind of paying a price for that heroic act that he did in Avengers Endgame. I thought that was very, very cool. So, all right, we're going to continue on.
What did you say your name was?
Okay. This is interesting. Okay. This right here is interesting. We've got
What did you say your name was?
So either we have got some kind of a hypersensitivity to sound going on. That's what it seems to suggest. All right. Now, Peter's senses were already dialed up to 11, as he said in Captain America Civil War when he first got his abilities. So what could be happening is that if he is moving from one stage of his spiderdom to another stage, he could be re-experiencing some of those symptoms that he had before. Now, another possible explanation is that if the symbiote has found him and bonded with him, it might be passing his sensitivity to sonics, or its sensitivity to sonics, onto Peter, which could also be a thing. So there's multiple explanations for this. I honestly think, at least given the kind of narrative through line that they're presenting us in this trailer, I honestly think that it has to do with his metamorphosis more than it has anything to do with the symbiote. I'm not gonna lie, I could be wrong, but I'm not. All right, let's just move on.
Is mutating. It would be enormously dangerous.
Okay, all right. So we got the magic M word here, mutating. DNA mutating. That would be extremely dangerous, okay? Notice that there is no further explanation. There is no further explanation of how that would be dangerous. Now, I think from a practical perspective, if your DNA is mutating, that probably suggests that you are suffering from radiation poisoning and that you are breaking down on a molecular level. All right. Radiation, I've seen photos of what, radiation exposure can do to people, and it's not pretty. So there's a practical explanation right there. Okay. And honestly, given that Banner is the product of someone whose DNA has been altered through a kind of selective radiation, you could argue that that's a kind of mutation. All right. But then we have, dangerous in the MCU. All right. And so what Banner might not be saying here is that, your DNA mutating, that could be dangerous. That could be dangerous because he might, start shooting laser beams from his eyes. He might grow claws and a regenerative healing factor. He might not be able to touch people. He might charge something with kinetic energy when he touches it. Name the X-Men that I just referred to in that order. And it could also be dangerous for him politically in terms of how people might feel about mutants, okay? We all know mutants are coming to the MCU, guys. We know they're coming. And in fact, we very well may see one in this movie. Hell, we may very well see one in this trailer. But in the meantime, Peter is getting thrown into a water tower. So...
Spiders.
Okay. I like that he visits Aunt May's grave. I really like that. All the respect to Aunt May and especially to Marissa Tomei's portrayal of her.
Have 3 life cycles.
Okay.
When between cycles.
Okay. Whose voice is that? Because the first time I heard it, I was like, is that Lawrence Fishburne? Because it sounds like Lawrence Fishburne, at least to me it does. It also could be what's his name? Oh God, I can't remember. He was in the movie Armageddon. He was General Kimsey. What else has he been in? There's something about Mary. Keith David. There we go. Thank you, CG. Much appreciated. Yes, Keith David. So yeah, I did another listen through of the trailer, and I was like, that might be the other guy, Keith David. It's never actually said who it is. So, and I don't think they actually say who is there. So, sorry, Mesozoic. The bot nicked you for speaking in all caps. I really need to calibrate that thing. So, we don't know for certain that that's Keith David. We don't know for certain that it's Lawrence Fishburne. It could be someone else entirely. The point is, I don't know, but it sounded familiar, and those were the two candidates that came to my mind and my ear. So it was worth mentioning. So okay. In any case, the speaking here is interesting because I feel like it ties in again with the other storyline from the comics, as well as everything that seems to be happening with Peter during his, civilian exploits. So
it can leave the spider vulnerable to threats.
Okay.
We are faced with
what we seem to have going on here with this shot of the woman whose face is, looking one way, and then suddenly we have a swish, and then someone reacts another way behind Spider-Man, and then when he turns back, this woman is acting like she's got a headache. All right. So the implication here, at least to me, and my my media savviness here, is we've got a telepath or some type of entity, maybe like the Shadow King, who is jumping from one person to the next, or a telepath who is taking control of one mind and then another and then another. And so I'll address this when we're done with the trailer. So
we can't control.
And then boom, it happens again. Okay, that guy. If I am not mistaken, and please feel free to correct me if I'm wrong here, all right? But I think this is the actor who is going to be playing Tombstone. I think. I cannot remember for certain. I believe that Tombstone is supposed to make an appearance in this film. So I think this is him. If it isn't, then it's someone who I don't know. It's some politician or lawyer who appears to be speaking to Spider-Man directly. This appears to be his mask right here, although it's kind of blurry, so we don't know for absolutely certain, but it looks like it's Spider-Man, So, all right, let's go ahead and move on. Okay. Sorry, I'm a little... Okay, all right. Who is this? Who is this? I'm just gonna take a guess here, all right? And again, this could be anyone, all right? But we've got someone who appears to have some computer. He's got a computer, possibly a hacker setup behind him. I'm seeing a couple of fabrication machines, and like, is this some kind of a builder? Do we have any ideas here? Because I am not certain. This could be an early version of Scorpion before he gets the armor put on him and everything, or maybe just after the armor is on him and he hasn't revealed it yet. My first thought was like, oh my God, it's Mysterio. Just a really cheap version of Mysterio. Bad Mysterio cosplay right here, okay? Confirmed. That's what it is. Bad Mysterio cosplay. If I end up being actually right about that, I will laugh my ass off for who knows how long. But anyways, we just don't know who this is right here. Everything is covered up. But clearly it's significant. If it's in the trailer, it should be significant. So anyways, I was just like, really? Why?
Stay out.
Okay, look at who we got here, guys. Now, I know some of you who liked Michael Mando from Spider-Man Homecoming, which was the last Spider-Man movie that he was in, by the way. So we haven't seen this guy since 2017. All right. But he had the scorpion tattoo, which I don't see here, although it might just be on a portion of his face or his body that I don't remember exactly where it was. But in any case, it's him. All right, you guys have finally got your fully fledged Scorpion right here. And, you know, I'll be honest with you guys. Scorpion has never been my favorite Spider-Man villain. To me, he's basically an idiot bully in a mechanical or organic suit, depending on which origin you want to go with. But I like that they're whipping him out here and making him part of the rogues gallery that we're going to be getting, at least in this trailer here. So I like that he is basically giving, at least I assume he's talking to Peter here. He could be talking to someone else, but he appears to be giving Peter the same bit of advice that Michael Keaton's Vulture gave him in Homecoming, which was just stay out of my way. Just stay out of my way and we'll be fine, you know? It's very different from the Mac Gargan who wanted to know who Spider-Man was so that he could, you know, very viciously kill him. So.
Out of my way.
Okay. Ah, man. All right. I know this isn't clear. I get it. But just look at this. Just look at the motion, you know? So, in your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man Season 1, Peter fought the Scorpion, and that Scorpion was vicious. And those fights were great. And I think we're going to get part 2 of a really good Scorpion and Spider-Man fight here. And again, I'm not changing my mind. Scorpion is definitely not one of my favorite Spider-Man villains. But if they can put together a good fight between this Spider-Man and this Scorpion, oh, that will go a long way to upping my likability factor with this character. So, okay, and he is just getting flung all over the place, which leads Frank to show up and say,
"You're losing it, kid."
Look at this shot right here. Look at this. It was true with Toby, it was true with Andrew, and it is true with Tom, all right? Peter cannot stay away from the woman he loves. He can't do it, okay? He loves MJ. He absolutely loves MJ, and I think that through happenstance, through, you know, again, possibly, you know, subconscious desire, he's going to end up spending some time with her. And there's probably the intellectual part of him that's going to go, I can't do this. This is bad. I'm putting her in danger the more I even talk to her. And yet he's not going to be able to stay away. And MJ is going to be fascinated by him because, of course, who wouldn't be, you know? I mean, hell, he could take me web swinging, rescue me like that, and I'd probably be fascinated with him too. Probably not on a romantic level, but like, I'd be like, wow, how do you work the way you work? You know, stuff like that. But again, we've got No Way Home to think of and what he said to her at the end of No Way Home. And that look she gave him afterwards, like, huh? So, you know, even though this isn't that guy to her necessarily, that's not Peter Parker, there's probably something going on here, something stirring in her going, why do I not remember you, but I kind of do. And that's, that goes back to the classic idea of the heart telling you what your mind can't, essentially, And
for those spiders...
Okay, this appears to be just a continuation of the scene between Spider-Man and the Punisher, and they were clearly in pursuit of the same goal, which I assume has something to do with this armored car here. But I don't know who's in it or what's going on, and I imagine that's intentional.
Who make it through.
Ooh. Okay, all right. Before we get to this, hold on. You know what? I think you can put this in every Spider-Man movie as far as I'm concerned, okay? Like, it's not in every Spider-Man movie, but honestly, smear a Spider-Man across a subway or a bus window, that is never not going to be funny to me. And I think it was Into the Spider-Verse that did it best with Miles. That was hilarious. You can't get as stylized here, but this is still funny to me. It's like, yep. Okay, all right. So with this scene right here, we've got an homage to the cover of the very first Spider-Man comic, Amazing Fantasy number 15. This is a recreation of that shot. It's not absolutely perfect, but it basically nails the vibe. And I'm just like, wow, they're really going for that. The first time I saw this, like, my jaw was starting to drop when we got that. Okay? And the first time I saw this, I didn't catch Boomerang over here. All right? For those of you who don't know who Boomerang is, he's a fairly minor Spider-Man villain who I think recently in the comics decided that he was going to be Spider-Man's sidekick and has been helping him fight crime, much to Peter's annoyance and frustration. I also think that Peter was rooming with Fred Myers, aka Boomerang, at the time that all of this was going down. So he very well couldn't just like web up his roommate and, leave him for the cops or something. So yeah, no, I really appreciate that. And what we appear to be getting here is a montage of spider villains, okay? Boomerang being the first one. I mean, I guess technically Scorpion or Tombstone could be your first ones. But then we get this one, okay? And my assumption at this point is that this is Tarantula. And if you don't know who Tarantula is, oh, believe me, you will know at some point who Tarantula is. Tarantula is this, when you guys watched, I think, what was it? Was it Winter Soldier? Captain America, the Winter Soldier? You know how, like, Captain America had to go and, liberate that ship at the beginning of the movie, and its captain was this, like, MMA fighter who, had this kind of distinct look to him? That guy was Batroc the Leaper. That's who he was meant to be from the comics, all right? Batroc the Leaper from the comics is kind of a joke. I feel like Tarantula is a little bit of the same thing. He's kind of like one of these villains who occasionally shows up. He annoys Spider-Man because he's extra limber and he's got these blades in his feet, and he's just, he gives him trouble for about an issue of the comic, and then Spider-Man catches him and is like, all right, you were kind of a pain, go away. But I feel like that's who this is. I feel like this is Tarantula right here. And then look at this, guys. Look at this. Holy crap. I was like, I could not believe this. Okay, so first of all, has Spider-Man ever fought the Hand? Yes, Spider-Man has fought the Hand, all right? They've even shown up in the pages of The Amazing Spider-Man. They do not show up with anything resembling regularity, though, okay? But you know who has fought the Hand, who also appears in this movie? Frank frickin' Castle. The Punisher has fought the Hand in the MCU along with Daredevil and Elektra. All right, and I believe most of the Defenders crew. I could be wrong about that. It's been a while, and sometimes it all blends together. Okay, but look at this. We have got the Hand. We've got all of these red garbed ninjas. Look at this. We've got one of their swordsmen just taking a leap at him. All right, this is just like, this is an epic shot right here. I feel like any of the shots involving Spider-Man and multiple members of the Hand fighting is just like, you could frame any of this. You could frame this right here, okay? Maybe not at this resolution, but you could frame this scene, all right? Okay, now, we're clearly in some kind of a penitentiary. And since Spider-Man is in costume, I don't think he's being held here. All right. I feel like if they had captured Peter and then incarcerated him, he would not be wearing his costume at that point. So I think that we've got a situation where Spider-Man comes to this prison. It could be a Supermax facility or not. I don't know for certain. Maybe he's looking for someone. Maybe he's looking for Frank Castle. Maybe he's looking for, I don't know, the Kingpin, whoever. Maybe he's looking for former President Ross. We don't know, okay? But it looks like he runs into the Hand, and it looks like the Hand do quite a number on him, because I don't know why Peter would be standing or kneeling there in front of them while they're about to attack him. Maybe he's got some clever plan in mind. I don't know for certain. But this shot of the ninjas leaping at him just looks amazing, as do a lot of these shots that follow where he's fighting them. All right. Oh, no. We can't not address this. All right. Look what's going on here, guys. Look what's going on. I'm going to move this up just a touch. And apparently I can't. There we go. Okay. Eyes. Look at those eyes. All right. Take a look at those eyes. Okay. So, narratively, if we're going for narrative consistency here, all right, the black eyes could be part of his transformation, the one that I referred to from the comics in the other, okay? He's, yeah, like, he's going through something. He's going through something, and it is affecting him on a, on a molecular level, his very DNA is just going through it. So he's metamorphizing into something, and we don't know what. Alan, I appreciate your comment about him having no mask, but honestly, MCU heroes take off their masks at the drop of a hat anyways, I mean, at this point, that doesn't do much to sway my opinion of how he got into that situation. So, maybe he was incarcerated. I don't know. It doesn't look like it from this perspective, not to me. And you're not going to change my mind about that. So, okay, let's continue. Look at that. So I feel like the other is the metamorphosis is occurring right here during his fight with the Hand. And to be perfectly honest, I feel like he is going to throw down on these guys who have given Daredevil one-on-one, one of them has given Daredevil, like cut him up badly in one episode. I remember that. Oh, God, do I remember that. Shattered the sword. Look at that. I don't even know what to say to that. That just looks too cool. Okay, all right. Hold on. I want to go back here real quick. Okay. So we all know what the movie is called, or we know the title of this movie, all right? Spider-Man Brand New Day, all right? Now, some of you may know this and some of you might not. Brand New Day is actually, that is from the comics. Homecoming was never from the comics, all right? Far From Home, No Way Home, as far as I know, those were never from the comics, those titles. Them taking a subtitle for this movie from the comics means that they're going to be using a lot of elements from that story. And Brand New Day is a storyline that I have kind of a fraught history with. The reason for that is because right before Brand New Day, we had the story One More Day. That is the story in which Peter's marriage to Mary Jane was magically annulled so that Peter could save his Aunt May's life. It is a story, in my opinion, that was a grievous character assassination of Spider-Man and Peter Parker. And to this day, I still cannot forgive Joe Quesada for that story. It's a well-told story. I will admit that. It is a well-illustrated story. It is, to my mind, a story that simply should not exist. But it exists, and I have to deal with that. But Brand New Day is what came directly after One More Day. And I was so, guys, I was reading the comics back then. I was so pissed off about One More Day that I actively did not read Brand New Day for a very long time. I was like, you know what? No, screw this. I don't want to read this comic anymore. And I just stopped reading. I avoided Brand New Day because I'm like, no, I don't want these new villains and all this stuff you're doing, and screw you. And you know, and I wasn't even a fan of his marriage to MJ. I really wasn't. But I felt the way they did it was poorly, you know, they shouldn't have done it. It was not in line with the character that I knew and loved as Spider-Man. Okay. Now I will say they did utilize certain elements from One More Day in Spider-Man No Way Home. They actually did. Particularly the element of them, of Peter basically getting his secret identity back and no one really knowing or giving a damn about Peter Parker. That is definitely an element that was negotiated in One More Day. But I feel like No Way Home took a lot of the elements from One More Day that it used and did them way better in No Way Home. So now Brand New Day, I eventually did go back and read it. And you know what, guys? I'll give the devil his due, all right? Not One More Day, Brand New Day. I went back and read Brand New Day. And I'll give the devil his due because, man, Brand New Day was a lot of fun. It was really good. I'm not even going to lie, okay? They put Peter into a number of really interesting and different situations than from what we had seen before, okay? I remember opening up one issue and he's just making out with this really hot girl at a club, okay? And it starts with something along the lines of, my name is Peter Parker, and I have no idea how this happened, okay? And so I have a feeling that what we may get in Brand New Day is a little bit of what we've seen already. Because in Brand New Day, the comic, we got a parade of new Spider-Man villains. We got Screwball, we got Freak, we got the best one to come out of it was Mr. Negativity, Martin Lee, who frankly I'm surprised we don't see in this movie. I feel like if you're going to name it Brand New Day, you should at least introduce Martin Lee, and maybe they will. I hope they do. You know, Mr. Negativity. He was the main villain. Well, not the main villain. He was one of the major villains in the 2018 Spider-Man PlayStation 4 game. So good. They did such a good job with him. Okay. But I feel like, we got that parade of villains. We got Boomerang, we got Tarantula, we got Scorpion. We're probably getting Tombstone. Probably others that we hopefully don't know about. And it's just going to be a bunch of new things happening to Peter that we just haven't seen before. New types of things, new types of tones and emotions and things. And I'll just go ahead and say it right now, okay? A lot of people are speculating that Sadie Sink's character, who, to my knowledge, we don't see Sadie Sink in this trailer. A lot of people are speculating that her character is Jean Grey, which could possibly explain the whole mind/body swapping thing going on in the trailer. All right. It's a possible explanation. I'm not willing to commit to that yet. But what I will say is that it would make perfect tonal and narrative sense for Spider-Man to encounter, for instance, one of the X-Men in this movie as part of a whole like Brand New Day style shakeup. And so I keep wondering just how true those rumors about Sadie Sink are. Of course, another one that I heard recently, and frankly, I hope this is true. I frankly hope that Sadie Sink actually ends up playing Firestar, and that hopefully we get an Iceman somewhere in this movie. That would make my little nerdling heart jump for joy if we got Spider-Man and his amazing friends in this movie. I would be over the moon in such a big way. So, but I'm just going to go ahead and throw that out there because I know people are talking about Sadie Sink, and I get it. She was awesome in Stranger Things. But yeah, I don't know. We just don't know yet. So, all right, let's go ahead and continue.
Nice flowers.
Oh, they're a housewarming gift.
I'm MJ.
I'm just a neighbor from across the hall.
Friendly neighbor.
Okay, all right, guys. So that last bit is a joke. But look at this. A neighbor across the hall. So we know that he's situated in his little apartment at the end of No Way Home. So either he's moved or MJ lives across the hall from him. Or maybe he lives across the hall from somebody else and maybe MJ is at a party at that person's house. I don't know for certain. But of course, we get the friendly neighbor as a little riff on Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, and we see Tom Holland cough into his drink. And yeah, I don't know. I just thought that was a cute way to end it. And again, I like that, there are going to be a lot of people who disagree with me here, and those people are welcome to their wrong opinions. It's fine. But, I like that we're seeing MJ. I frankly would be concerned if we didn't see MJ in this, okay? Because, let's be honest, guys, okay? Zendaya, she's going to get butts into seats, all right? It would be stupid not to include her. And again, she, Tom, and Jake, they were in all three movies together. They grew up during those movies together, all right? Does anyone know if Tom and Zendaya are actually married yet? I've been hearing rumors. Nobody knows for certain. But anyways, yeah, again, it goes back to Peter being unable to abandon the people that he loves. It has a little bit, in my opinion, to do with Zendaya's pure star power. And again, it's just kind of like, she's a smart person. She kind of figured him out in Far From Home, who he was. And so I honestly think we're going to get that again with her. I kind of hope we do. Now, I will say this for those of you that are gonna try to counterpoint me on this. I am going to say this. I don't want it to happen in this movie. If she and he get back together by the end of this movie, that will be disappointing for me, because in my opinion, I feel like we should have another trilogy here. All right. I don't know how Tom Holland feels about that. Okay. But I know how I feel about it. Okay. We do another trilogy. He and MJ get together at the end of the trilogy finally. All right. They figure it all out and they get together. In the meantime, Spider-Man is dealing with street level stuff. He is dealing with like gangs and criminals and stuff like that. He's got his fair share of supervillainy to deal with. Hell, he might even have to deal with the symbiote, okay? And Peter Parker is going to have to deal with school and money problems and all of those things that we are used to seeing from the classic Spider-Man era, all right? That to me is what this again, it's not confirmed to be a trilogy, but in my brain, I'm thinking trilogy. And in my brain, that's what this trilogy it can be. And I feel like that's what we're going to get, you know? And for those of you that are concerned, too much MJ, too much, look, we don't know how much of the movie she's going to be in. All right. Yes, she's in a lot of the trailer. There might not be much more than that. We just don't know. So keep your heads on. We'll figure this out. We'll get there. We are less than 5 months away from this movie. And I, for one, can't wait. So I am really looking forward to seeing this. I don't think there's any post scene. I think this is it right here. Yeah. So. All right. But in any case, those are my thoughts on this trailer. All right. I think that this trailer, I mean, one, I'm biased. Okay. If you're a Spider-Man fan, you're biased. You're going to love the fact that this trailer has come out. At least you're at least going to love parts of this trailer. Okay. You're going to get some people who are like, oh, I'm a bigger Spider-Man fan than you are, and I didn't like it for XYZ reason. And you know what? You're welcome to your wrong opinions. All right? You are. All right? Everyone's welcome to their opinions. But at least for me, I'm seeing a lot of consequences from No Way Home. I'm seeing a lot of inspiration from the comics. And frankly, I'm seeing elements from what I remember of Brand New Day in the comics really coming through in this trailer, and they're suggestive of what the movie is going to be. I really think that, that there's a lot of potential here. I'm very excited. And there's still a lot we don't know. We don't know how much Zendaya is going to be in this. We don't know what Sadie Sink's role is going to be yet. We don't know. We technically, well, no, I'm not going to say that. Okay. But we don't know the scope of, how many villains and who's the main villain of this movie. And again, possibly this trilogy. All right. But, it looks exciting. I'm excited, and hopefully you are as well. Excuse me. Thank you for watching this reaction and analysis of the Spider-Man Brand New Day official trailer. If you enjoyed it, please go ahead and thwip the like button. And if you haven't already, consider subscribing as well. Also, consider sharing this out with your friends, your family, your followers, anyone that you think would enjoy my reaction to these media. In this case, Spider fans, fans of Marvel, fans of superheroes, the MCU. It's all good. What'd you think of this trailer? Did you like it? Did you dislike it? Let me know why in the comments. I would love to have a conversation with you about this film. Let me think. Yeah, I'm going to mention memberships. So, And finally, you can find the full and unedited live stream of this reaction and analysis on my YouTube channel with a paid membership. They start at $2.99 a month and come with a number of perks, including shoutouts, members-only videos, members-only live streams, and early access to selected uploaded content, as well as a few other perks that may appear from time to time. And that's not even mentioning my custom emotes and badges, which I think look pretty good. Check out the membership tiers today and see which perks you'd like access to. And I think that's everything, so thanks again for watching. This is Spidey Librarian, and until my next stream or upload, I'll be wishing you a good day. Okay, all right. I have got probably a whole bunch of conversations to read. I know you guys were talking a lot, so I'm gonna go back as far as I can, and we're gonna talk about what you guys were saying. Okay, yeah, Wolf. What was that theory? Did I touch on it? And how far off was I from you? I will want to know that. Let's see. All right. Marshland's lightly cautious about, I think I might have read that. Yes, I did. Okay. Okay, the thing that, okay, man spider, yeah, I remember talking about that. Okay, what else? I'm just going back and forth on all this. Jurassic man spider has been heavily rumored, so maybe. Jurassic man spider? What? All right. Wally fan does not want to see a 6-armed human. You may want to cover your eyes if that happens, but I don't know. I'd be interested to see how they handle that in this movie. Like if they do that. I don't know. I personally don't think they'll do it, but I've been wrong before, so. Okay, let's see. Okay, we're talking about layout here. All right, Marshlands feels like if at any point we do get Man Spider in the MCU, this is probably the only place it would occur. But if it doesn't and he just gets the organic webbing, then you're fine with that as well. Yeah, and really, I mean, personally, my hope is that he gets the organic webbing and that the organic webbing is also temporary. We'll see. I don't know. I just feel like you gotta go back to what the original was, but you know, that's just me, and I'll totally cop to being biased on that one. So, all right, it's more likely we get man spider before 6-armed spider. I don't know about that either, but you know, anyone's guess is as good as the others at this point. Okay. Do I got to do the reverse? Okay, we did talk about that. For the most part, it's usually short-term moment where Peter either mutates into a massive humanoid spider or has a nightmare regarding something very similar. Spidey Librarian is very correct. I usually am very correct. What was I correct about? All right, saying it has a lot of horror themes, specifically body horror, yes. Think kind of The Fly, but with Spider-Man. That's a really good analogy right there. So, Wally fan, I just looked, but I don't like. That's also fair. I get it. All right. Yeah, he is stalking them, but it's less creepy compared to Andrew. I mean, yeah, but is it? I mean, you know, to me, it's the intent behind it that I feel like makes it every bit as creepy, or at least potentially creepy, as Andrew Garfield's does, because there's intentionality there. He is literally, you know, like he's probably got them on his, you know, on his For You page or something, And I mean, like, he's checking in on them, you know? I don't know. It kind of feels like it might be, to me at least. So Andrews came off a little too stalkery. I mean, you know, if Andrew had had this kind of access that Tom does, I feel like he would have been doing this as well, you know? Happy will return in Avengers Endgame. Did you guys ever see the What If episode where Happy has to defend Avengers Tower during a Christmas party? If you haven't seen that, it's freaking hilarious. You should watch it. All right. All right. Looks like no tech in that suit. Yeah, no, it looks like a pair of pajamas, as Iron Man would say. Underoos. Oh yeah, Doomsday. Yeah, no, it's Avengers Doomsday. Yeah. All right. Marshlands will say that at least looks like Cretin's got solid cinematography. Reminds him a lot of Raimi's Spider-Man 2 and The Amazing Spider-Man 2. It's interesting because I did see one criticism online where someone was like, he's like, oh great, they're color grading Brand New Day just like the Andrew Garfield films. But now that it's not Andrew and it's Disney, people are going to like it. And I'm like, and I do remember having some issues with the color, at least in the first movie, maybe not as much the second one, but like there were plenty of other things wrong with those movies. So I felt like that guy's criticism was a little bit disingenuous. All right, let's see. He probably has memorized it. Who has memorized what? All right. Let's see. Mesozoic thinks that Peter was talking to himself to prepare some kind of letter or message to them, but is going to stop himself because he gets too nervous. Oh yeah, I honestly think that he's done that thing where he's just recorded himself and like rehearsed it and done it that way. That's what I think. Think there's any chance that Ned becomes Hobgoblin in this new trilogy? Frankly, I hope so. I think that would be really cool. And I mean, it's Ned Leeds. Ned Leeds is infamously one of the big hobgoblins, so it's entirely possible. All right. Peter sitting by the washing machine is just me, says Mesozoic. Oh, Mesozoic, don't tell me how you spend your Saturdays, man. Don't. All right. Imagine they have Ned unwipe their minds. I know it won't happen, but it would be interesting. Yeah, that's true. Fixed door or no rent. Bully Holland, huh? All right, let's see. CG's been wanting Hobgoblin in a film for years. He wants Mark Hamill to reprise his role as Hobgoblin, but in live action instead of animation. He doesn't imagine it happening, though. So, CG, what if I told you that it could plausibly happen, all right? The very first Hobgoblin was a fashion-forward gentleman by the name of Roderick Kingsley. And Kingsley, from what I understand, was not depicted as a young man. He wasn't exactly an old man, which I suppose you could make the case is what Mark Hamill is, but he certainly wasn't like young, you know? He was like, I don't know, young-ish, middle-age-ish, I don't know. So, in my brain, at least, if they decided to cast Hamill as Roderick Kingsley, it's just a thought. It's just a thought, but I figured you'd want to know that. All right, it says the film takes place 4 years after No Way Home. Who knew? So who knows? Okay, where does it say that? Because I need to know that. So, let's see. There are quite a few references to the 2 other Spider-Man movie series in this. I mean, I think that in a lot of ways, Peter's costume refers to his adventure with both Toby and Andrew, because he did design that. I mean, beyond that, I'm not seeing a lot of direct references, but who knows, you know? But my assumption and my hope at this point is that he remembers them, you know? I don't want all of that to be for nothing. You know what I'm saying? All right. Yeah, Marshlands hopes that we seriously didn't just skip Peter's entire college life. See, and that's one of the reasons that I believe this doesn't take place 4 years after No Way Home. Okay? Because you're telling me that at the end of No Way Home, he and MJ are getting excited about going to MIT, and then in this trailer, they're making a short form, you know, they're making a TikTok or a YouTube short or whatever about how excited they are to go to MIT. I could see deferring admission for like 1 year, but 4? I'm sorry, I'm not buying that. I really am not. Like somebody somewhere screwed up if that's the case. And I want to know who and why, you know? Let's see. CG hasn't had too much excitement for Brand New Day, so he's been waiting for a trailer to come out so he can be won over. What he can confirm is that the trailer raised his excitement. Good. Me too. Let's see. Wally fan doesn't see that happening. Oh, are you talking about Hobgoblin and Mark Hamill? I'm not saying that it will happen. I am saying that there's a path. There is a path that I'm pretty sure a lot of Spider-Man fans would be like, that works for me. That works for me, you know? So Alan popping in, good to see you. All right. Mesozoic has no idea what I'm talking about with Tony Stark, but okay. You may need to refresh my memory because I'm wading through a lot of stuff here. Ned got his hair back. Hasn't he always had hair? Marshlands has some issues regarding stuff with Tony, but feels like the good mostly outweighed the bad. Personally, he was more or less Iron Boy Jr. and more frustrated that Vulture and Mysterio were more scorned? Scorned? I don't know. I thought they were fairly well handled. You know? I mean, like, yeah, they're not like, you know, they're not pulled directly out of the comic books in terms of their origins, but I feel like they were made to fit pretty well within the MCU with regard to all the things going on in the MCU. I felt like they worked, and I felt like that was, you know, that was what was most important to me. All right, CG says, I could imagine myself being wrong, but his fan theory is that Brand New Day will be about Peter letting MJ and Ned go, and thinks that Brand New Day could be the last film that they show up in. I hope you're not right, but I could see that I could see the movie being about that theme, and I could see them disappearing for up to like one movie afterwards. But I feel like he has to come back to them. I really do. All right, Tony Stark villains and not more closely tied to Peter. They're not gonna be. And again, this is the same argument that I have had with people about, you know, the whole Iron Man Jr., you know, whatever thing. What those people, where that argument is coming from is those people want the solo self-actualized Spider-Man that you got from the classic era of comics. And again, this is the hill I will die on. You can't get that in the MCU, not immediately. It would take time to get there, and we're finally getting there. And in the meantime, those villains have to be adjusted to account for that. Who is Peter at the start of his superhero career? He's no one until Tony Stark discovers him. So to me, it makes plenty of sense that they would be like, yep, nope, I got an issue with Tony Stark. And to be perfectly honest, they pretty readily transferred that grudge from Tony Stark to Peter, you know, when the narrative called for it. So again, you know, like I understand that people didn't get everything they wanted with those villains, but I also feel like you're not properly accounting for the narrative environment in which this Spider-Man has been introduced. And in order for it to make sense, in order for it to work, if he's a teenager who has just stumbled into some powers in the MCU, he can't just start superheroing. Somebody is going to notice him, like Tony Stark. Somebody's going to bring him in if they think he has potential. And that's what happened. And I feel like that's what needed to happen. All right. And yes, that's the Punisher. Now, personally, I think if the Punisher has never been my favorite Marvel character, and he probably never will be. In a vacuum, I find him almost offensive. He's a dude with guns who is out to kill people. Yes, I know he kills criminals. I know he tries to kill the worst of the worst. But it just seems to me a character like that on paper is someone that another person is going to read and just be like, oh, that guy's a badass. I want to be him. And they're going to take the wrong lessons from the story of Frank Castle. Okay. I think that the Punisher is best when he is put up as a foil against heroes like Daredevil and Spider-Man. And I think it's very smart that the MCU is actually doing that. And they're doing a good job of it. I loved seeing the Punisher in season 1 of Daredevil Born Again. Like, they not only did him well and did him realistically, but his relationship with Matt is awesome. And frankly, like when Frank and Karen show up at Matt Murdock's house and Matt says something snarky to Karen about, oh, you spending a lot of time with Frank? I remember thinking, oh, what's wrong, Matt? Are you jealous? And I wasn't, that could have gone either way. And I was like, I'm not thinking that he's jealous of Frank getting to spend time with his girl, Karen. No, I'm thinking he's jealous of his friend, Karen, getting to spend time with his, with his antagonistic BFF, Frank, basically. That's what I meant when I thought that the first time. So, all right, let's see. Before or after season 2 of Daredevil Born Again is the question. That's a good point, actually, because yeah, Daredevil season 2, Jesus. I'm pretty sure that takes place pretty closely contiguous with current time. So, oh God, this is going to give me a headache trying to figure out and account for when this movie takes place. So, I hope we don't miss them, Peter and Frank first meeting. If they gloss it over or if they skip it entirely, I won't be too upset. I won't be too upset because, again, there has been 4 years between Spider-Man movies. So, sometimes doing shorthand to just be like, yes, these guys know each other, sometimes it works really well. And I felt like, at least in this trailer, it worked really well. They did that with Superman last year. And I honestly think that that was a genius move on James Gunn's part. Again, I know a lot of people will disagree with me, but they're wrong. So, let's see. CG has read Punisher's first appearance. It also introduced the Jackal. I believe you're right. It's confirmed to take place after season 2. When did this movie take place and what year is it? And so many questions. They screw up the timeline where Spider-Man movies are concerned. They always do. There's also the Punisher special coming soon. You are correct. Let's see. It will be rated R, though. But I'm probably going to watch it anyways. Yeah. The R-rated stuff is the good stuff. No, not necessarily. All right. Mesozoic doesn't know too much about the Punisher, but he looks cool as hell. Yeah. I mean, he's got his good moments. I will admit, you know. I love how he shoots him. You know, and again, I get the feeling that they've danced this dance before, and Frank is just like, I'm not gonna kill you, but I will shoot you, and I think that was him doing it, you know. And then how Spider-Man shuts him up. Yes, that is so great. Like, nope, no F-bomb for you, sir. This is a PG-13 movie, not on Tom's watch. All right, Wolf says that he thinks Frank hates that Peter puts criminals in jail and they end up escaping or getting released. He's more of a final solution kind of guy. Yes, which is exactly the problem that Daredevil and Spider-Man have with Frank Castle. So, again, I think that's why he works amazingly as a foil for those types of characters. So, all right. Calling it right now, that guy right there kissing MJ is Harry. I don't think... Oh, okay, wait a minute. No. Yeah, I suppose that's possible. I didn't think about it, but you could be right, actually. And honestly, at this point, if they decide to slowly introduce the Green Goblin this way, yeah, I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. All right, Jurassic, imagine a Marine that has no emotion and can kill and torture without blink. Yeah, that's basically the Punisher. Yes. All right. Mesozoic says, I hope this is okay to say Peter's getting cucked at a park. I mean, I'm not crazy about the phrase, but I don't think there's anything necessary. I don't think YouTube is going to have a problem with it. Cooked. I like Wally Fan's revision right there. Cooked. He's getting cooked at a party. I like that. All right. Damn, Tom, didn't realize you were built like that. Hey. Trust me, I wish I would look more like you, more torn. Wait, are you talking about my physique? I'm all right. Believe me, when I was younger, I looked like Tom Holland. Like, I did. And here's, you guys really want to hate me? I hardly ever worked out. Ever. Like, I hardly ever did. So, nowadays, I gotta work out more. You know? I like pizza a little too much, if you know what I'm saying. All right. Yes, he is supposed to be developing organic way. At least that's certainly how it looks based on the trailer. So yeah, and it would make a certain amount of sense if he did. So, all right, Jurassic, the mid-2000s Punisher movie with Thomas Jane is a pretty solid representation. Yeah, and I've actually watched and reacted to that on this channel. I believe it was last year, early last year. So, and after watching that, man, I friggin' loved, like, I already liked Tom Jane, but after watching his Punisher, I'm like, they should have done more movies with him, you know? All right, he bounced, so you can imagine the elasticity of the web. Oh, yeah. Let's see, more organic. And mechanical web shooters definitely have their own pros and cons. Oh yeah, absolutely. You're correct. So, all right, Mesozoic prefers the mechanical because they do fit the theme of who Peter is, but this works here with the whole mutation plot. Yes, yes. And they've done mutation plots with Peter in the past. So, I don't have an special problem with it. I will personally be a little disappointed if they never go back to the mechanical ones for him. But again, that's my preference. So, all right, let's see. Okay. Mesozoic thinks they're setting up the symbiote for the next film. It's possible. I hope we at least get a kind of check-in with the symbiote. Like, I'd like to know that it made its way to New York, because that's what Tom Hardy was thinking at the end of the movie when he got teleported back to his own multiverse. But yeah, I will personally be disappointed if we do not get a symbiote storyline by the end of this trilogy. And if they don't do it and they do another trilogy with Tom Holland, then it better happen then. But, if Tom Holland does another trilogy here, I will be really surprised if he goes beyond that. I will be so happy if he does, because frankly, I think they need to start depicting Spider-Man not just as a very, very young superhero. There are plenty of stories of Spider-Man as an older man, a married man, a father, and I feel like a lot of those stories and those depictions, they deserve their laurels as well, Yeah, I'd love to see the symbiote as well. Hulk versus Bruce Banner theory is interesting for this movie, of Bruce not knowing, but Hulk remembering who Peter is. Oh, that would be interesting. That would be because I think that's how it worked in the comics. When everyone forgot who Peter was, everyone, including Bruce Banner, there was one time when he encountered the Hulk, and the Hulk called him Peter. And Peter was like, wait, how do you remember who I am? And I think Hulk's response was, Hulk, remember everything. And I was like, that is fascinating. I have to know what's going on there. And then, of course, I never read it. So, Banner probably would have read through the SHIELD files at some point, revealing Peter's real identity, but presumably been erased by Strange's spell. Yeah, I agree with you, Wolf. I definitely agree with you there. Let's see. CG was concerned about Bruce being in the film because of how comedic he's been in recent years. However, he seems fine in the trailer. Yeah. Not gonna lie, Peter is starting to look emo. And okay, yeah, and it looks like Wolf said Bully Holland before I did. So Wally fan says no to mutants. Really? He was likely stung by Scorpion, and venom triggered his mutation. That's an interesting theory. I suppose it's not impossible at this point. We just don't know. All right. And then Wally says, well, maybe, but it's speculative, which, pretty much everything is speculative at this point. I mean, hopefully the difference between my speculation and a lot of the other speculation that you're just seeing from people on the internet is that mine is coming from the perspective of someone who has read a good number of the comics, who has done a lot of research on this character, and frankly, someone who just hopefully has a perspective that is more in line with how the filmmakers hopefully approached this movie. I'm not saying that I'm going to be more right than this person or that person. I'm just saying that this is a character that means a lot to me, and I have gone down that rabbit hole fairly extensively along a number of paths for him. So I hope I have something worthwhile to contribute to this discussion. So, all right, let's see. Maybe defensive mechanism to say, yeah, yeah. Keith David, CG says. Yes, yes, that's who I wasn't sure who it was. And then, of course, Mesozoic kind of freaked out. He's like, that's Keith David? And then, of course, the bot penalized him for it. The Aunt Maygrave kind of hurt a little bit. Yeah. And I think that's the point, you know? We miss the people we love, you know? All right. CG feels most curious about Keith David's role in the film. See, I don't know. I don't know who he's going to be. Hell, maybe he's Tombstone. Dude, if Keith David were Tombstone, I would be all over that. I would be all over that. All right, if this is Keith David, this is the second time he's had to deal with a spider guy. CG, you'll get it. Keith David, spider guy? What? Hold on. I'm not, but, you know. Who is in the chair in the cell? In the chair in the cell? Hold on, I'm going to go back and just see. I'll bring it up in a second. Let me get to where the hand are. Come on, where are they? Where are you hiding? Okay. Hold on, guys. Let me go ahead and just bring the original overlay back up. Let's have a look at this. Okay, so let's see. In the chair in the cell, I'm going to just scroll through briefly. Oh, hold on, guys. I've got a I've got a kitty. Oh God, why does this what okay, so that's too far forward. Okay, let me let Trouble in real quick. Come on, Your Majesty. Hold on a second, guys. I don't know where Trouble is. I'm going to go look for her. Okay. All right, sorry about that. I had to bring Trouble up here, and she wasn't very nice about it. Just making sure that she didn't make me bleed. Okay. All right. Anyways, let's just go ahead and replay this for a moment. Let me go ahead and full screen it for you. All right. Let's see. Anytime, computer. Hold on. Okay, so we're going to move to here. Okay. All right, so what are we talking about here? When you ask who is in the chair in the cell, what chair in which cell? I can't see anyone. I don't see anything that suggests a chair or a person in a chair. So let's see. I'm just going to go ahead and advance it a little bit. And then right now the focus is on the ninja and Spider-Man. Yeah, I don't see where that is, but if you want to point it out to me, I'll take a look again. So, all right, going back over here. Let's see. There was rumor of someone from Stranger Things that possibly plays in this movie. Yeah, Sadie Sink. He's giving Tombstone vibes, so you think so? Who are we talking about? Keith David? I'm not sure he's going to be Tombstone, but if he is, I'd be very happy about it. All right. The manager from Severance. I'm afraid I don't watch Severance, so I don't know anything about it. So, Department of Damage Control? Okay. Screwball? I mean, if she's in the movie, I won't be upset about it. She's kind of, I don't know, I think she's kind of lame personally. But you know, I mean, she was in the 2018 Spider-Man game, so, you know. Return of the Mac. About damn time this dude showed. Oh, Mac Gargan, yeah. So is Mac in this movie eventually to bond with the symbiote down the road? I mean, they could go that route. That actually, if they did that instead of the symbiote bonding to Peter, ooh. What if they do the Venom storyline without Eddie Brock at all, but instead of Peter and Eddie bonding with the suit, it's Peter and Mac Gargan? That's a pretty interesting premise, at least for me. So maybe, but probably not anytime soon. Yeah, I mean, if you go by the comics, yeah. Oh yeah, this will definitely be at least a 2-hour movie. I'll be really surprised if it's not. So, Rogue? What? Wait. Are you saying that Rogue was in the trailer, or she was on the bus? Is that what you were saying? Hold on. Hold on. I'm just going to look at that frame myself. Okay, so I'm looking at the girl in the bus, and she does, like, she's wearing a headset, she's wearing headphones. She's got brown hair behind the band of the headphones, and then forward of it it's all white. She's got some of the white locks tucked behind the headset too. I suppose it could be Rogue. She's wearing a green top, which is also a possibility as well, and she's also by herself, which would also make sense. It's possible. I'm not personally willing to start screaming and shouting about it, though. Like, it could be, but I'm not yet convinced that that wasn't just a coincidence. It might have been an intentional coincidence, but it doesn't feel like that would be rogue to me. But I've been wrong before, so. Yeah, the hair combination, yeah, is definitely a choice. Marshlands, that's the perfect way to put that. Yes, I agree. All right. So Mesozoic says, so the thing is, a lot of clips in this trailer got released on Twitter the day before it dropped. And the moment I saw Peter swinging with the person, I thought, oh God, is this AI? Oh God. Why can't we have nice things? I hope generative AI was not used to make this movie. Please, please, Disney, Sony, whoever, I don't care. Just don't use it. Just don't use generative AI for this, please. All right, looks about as close as you can get to recreating the amazing fantasy. Oh, absolutely, yeah. Definitely Tarantula with the foot spikes. All right. One thing that was funny is that Ultimate Boomerang was such a low-level villain in 2005 Ultimate Spider-Man game. He and Ultimate Shocker are both recurring random crimes you can stop. Yes, that... in the Ultimate Spider-Man game, I just remember him making... He kept calling Shocker Herman, and he kept saying Herman so derisively. It was just like, wow, why? George St. Pierre, the UFC fighter, was Batroc the Leaper. There we go. Thank you. Yes. Now we're catching up on stuff that I've said. Tarantula is more often a nuisance to Spider-Man than anything. Yes, I agree. Okay, this is a reference to Back in Black, and I think the Kingpin is the one in this prison, like in that storyline. See, I didn't see anyone in the prison behind him. Did I miss something? Because you guys are seeing something and I'm not. Here are my thoughts on the Kingpin being in this movie. I personally don't think it's going to happen. And I say this as someone who wants it to happen. Kingpin is a classic Spider-Man villain. However, Vincent D'Onofrio himself has said that there have been no plans made to work with Peter Parker to put Kingpin up against Spider-Man. And, you know, I mean, I suppose he could be lying. I suppose that's possible. But the only thing it has in common with Back in Black is that it's taking place in a prison. Peter's not in the black costume, and I didn't see Kingpin in there. Hi. Why'd you try to scratch at me earlier, huh? You're not allowed to go in the kitchen, sweetie. I love you very much, but you're not allowed to go in the kitchen. Trouble peed somewhere that she shouldn't have today. And so I've basically decided that she's not allowed to go back into the kitchen, which is where the crime occurred. She's not allowed to go back into the kitchen for at least a week. So she still has, like, because we have a fairly big house, she's still got like more than half of the house to explore. She's just not allowed to go into that section of the house that contains the kitchen. And she's upset at me right now because when I found her outside of my room, she wanted me to open up the door that would lead to the kitchen. And instead I brought her back upstairs, and she made it very clear that she was not happy with my decision to do that, and gave me a bit of a scratch when I put her down. And I don't know if you guys are interested in seeing this, but screw it. You can call me the TMI guy. But you can see right here, this is where she got me. It's not bleeding or anything. She very rarely makes me bleed, but she's not happy with me, and I'm not exactly happy with her right now, even if I love her. I love you so much, you little butt. Yes, I do. Okay. I wonder if we could get Maya. Are you talking about Echo, Wally fan? Because I wouldn't be opposed to that necessarily. Marshland says that doesn't think that they can legally use Kingpin, but it could be awesome to see Daredevil, Jessica Jones, or Elektra, maybe Iron Fist. Maybe not so much Iron Fist. I'm sorry, they did such a bad job with his show that I'm just kind of like, maybe not Iron Fist. So, if you look closely, his eyes get black. Yes, he's turning into the man spider. You know, symbiote. You see, everybody's got a theory here. You know, it's too bad because it would be cool if Kingpin was behind the attacks from Scorpion, Boomerang, and Tarantula. Now, there's nothing that says he couldn't be. It's just that you might not see him on screen. You know, he might be that off-screen mastermind. Okay. Spidey, aren't you disappointed they skipped over one more day? You're so funny, Wolf. Spidey, don't you love one more day? Don't you want to read it and take one more day to read one more day? No, I am not. I do not. Yeah. Let's see. Mesozoic can relate to me so much about One More Day because the Godzilla anime trilogy on Netflix is his version of it. Okay, that's fair. Yeah, no, that story has affected too much of Spider-Man's lore for me to be like, I don't acknowledge the story. I wish the story hadn't happened, but I do acknowledge it. So, do I think that was Rogue on the bus? Again, it could have been, but I'm not prepared to say that I think that was Rogue. So, hi. Look who's being sweet. He's being so sweet right now. She being such a sweetie. Because she wants Dad to do something for her, and I'm not going to do it. So, all right. Brand New Day did try to shoehorn in a lot of new characters. It was frustrating at first when some of them stuck around. It became tolerable. Yeah, and I mean, some of them were good. I really thought that Mr. Negative was pretty good from the get-go. And when I found out that he was in the 2018 Spider-Man PlayStation 4 game by Insomniac, I was blown away by how they utilized him because he's a fairly big figure in that game too. So Stiltman, hopefully, unless they're giving him his own movie. Justice for Stiltman. All right. Wolf No Way Home kind of adapted a large majority of One More Day. I wouldn't call it a large majority. I would say that they definitely adapted some significant elements from it, but I wouldn't say that they were large in terms of the overall narrative. Like they were pivotal and definitely affect what we're getting in this movie. But I don't think that No Way Home goes as far as being like the cinematic version of One More Day, if that makes any sense. So, all right, and Ms. Lion, of course. Oh, Ms. Lion. Oh, okay. All right. I just put your hands up in chat. Just throw a hand wave up in chat if you got that reference from Wolf MCOC. And if I'm the only one, don't look it up. Just throw it up if you got that reference, okay? Because that is freaking hilarious. I love that, and I know exactly when you said that. And Mesozoic, she said the thing. All right. Marshland's doubts we'll get Firestar and Iceman in this movie, but it could definitely see them in a future movie. I'm just saying, if they did that, there are so many Spider fans of a certain age that they're going to make happy, and I'm one of them, and I'm perfectly happy to admit it, you know? Zendaya Holland. Let's see. Hold on. Where did I... Sorry, the cursor skipped like way ahead. What the hell? Oh, Mesozoic says that they did get married officially. Oh, okay. If they get back together this early, I'm going to be so mad. That's way too early. Yes, I agree with you. Imagine if Peter gets the symbiote to help him with his mutation in the next... Oh, I like that. I like that a lot, actually. Honestly, if they go trilogy, have Black Cat as a love interest. Yes. That's one of the reasons that I don't want him to get back with MJ by the end of this movie. Is because honestly, this, I mean, you know, whether you want to acknowledge it or not, Tom Holland is the definitive on-screen Spider-Man. Not only does he now have more movies than Tobey Maguire, more standalone movies, he was featured in so many other movies that he just has the most time, you know, as Spider-Man. Oh, this sweet baby. This sweet baby put her claws on me. Yes, she did. Yeah. Your dad loves you. Your dad loves you so much. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. All right, let's see. It would be perfect timing. Yeah, no, and yeah, I agree with you. There is a significant portion of Peter's time when he and MJ were together and then they weren't together and then they got married. And between those two times, Felicia Hardy was big. She was a significant love interest in his life. So yeah. And I that's what I want, you know? I'm not even gonna lie, guys. I'm a total Black Cat simp. Okay. I'm not even gonna hide it. Hell, I will say it proudly. All right. I have always thought that Felicia was a better match for Peter than MJ. And I know a lot of people will castigate me for saying that. But at least until recently, there's one edge that Felicia always had over MJ. She had powers. She could take care of herself in a way that MJ could not. Now, that's not necessarily true now in the comics, because I don't know if you guys are reading the comics right now. MJ has the Venom symbiote. MJ is Venom, basically. And I'm of two minds about it. You know, sometimes I'm like, why are you doing this? And then other times I'm just like, I mean, it's interesting. I'm interested to see where that goes, you know? But yeah, but no, you know, again, total Black Cat simp. I've started playing Marvel Rivals again, and I'm not even gonna lie. All right, when Black Cat comes out, I'm gonna learn her. All right, and I'm gonna buy every single skin for her. All right, I'm gonna take care of that princess. All right, you watch. I may never be good with her. I may never be good at Marvel Rivals, but I'm gonna play her and I'm gonna enjoy it. You know. Okay. Mesozoic says, overall looks promising. Super interested where this is all leading to, and I do like the consequences of No Way Home playing here. But I'm a bit worried if it's doing too much. I'm not. I'm not at this point. Excuse me. If anything, I've learned to trust Marvel and Sony where Spider-Man is concerned. So I'm like, I understand how that can be a concern, but at least right now for me, it's not. So, was Sadie Sink in the trailer? To my knowledge, she was not. I don't think she was in it. If she was, I somehow missed her. So, all right, let's see. Your theory was the prison scene mirrors Back in Black. He went to prison with his mask off to visit Kingpin, but was met with his henchman in the Hand. Okay, yeah, in the comics, the Kingpin does lead the Hand at some points. But why? Why would he go to prison to find the kingpin with his mask off at this point? Tracking him down, I guess, maybe, because he sent all those villains after him? I don't know. That just seems like a pretty pale motive compared to the original Back in Black, and I feel like if they're gonna again, like I will admit, when I saw the prison, like I did flash back to that scene where in Back in Black where Peter beat the shit out of the king. Like, oh my God, that is one of the most brutal beatdowns I have ever seen in a comic. And Peter did it with his mask off to Wilson Fisk in front of a bunch of inmates. Like, it was vicious. It was so satisfying too. But like, that's the only element there that really stands out to me, is that he's in a prison. And I guess that he has his mask off, but that's still not enough for me, There could be any other number of plausible explanations, and I just don't feel that the Back in Black reference has been earned yet. But who knows? Maybe by the end of the movie, maybe that scene occurs there, and maybe they'll have earned it by then. I don't know. We don't know anything at this point. So, no, I was responding to Jurassic regarding Man Spider. Oh, I'm sorry. Guys, I know that you may be responding to some things I said when I started reading all these. Keep in mind, I may have lost the context, so just keep that in mind. All right, I don't know if Fisk is at that point in the MCU where he controls the Hand or hired villains like Scorpion, Boomerang, and Tarantula. I mean, I could see it with the organized crime, not necessarily with the Hand, but I mean, he was definitely Hand adjacent in Daredevil, so it's not completely implausible. All right, CG likes The Amazing Spider-Man 2, but Peter secretly following Gwen around is questionable, and I think that it makes him less sympathetic than the film was intending him to be. Yes, I agree. The synopsis of the film says it takes place 4 years afterwards. Synopsis. Who listens to synopses? No one, because they read them. So, I don't know. There's got to... They need to find a way to reconcile this, okay? Because if it takes place 4 years later, then why? Why did Ned and MJ wait 4 years to go to MIT? Like, unless that was some kind of a flashback, in which case that's kind of a cheap use of a flashback, in my opinion. We'll see. I don't know. All right, thank you for taking my Hobgoblin wish seriously. I felt worried that I was being silly to think that Mark Hamill should be the live-action Hobgoblin. If they cast him as Roderick Kingsley, I'll be over the moon, okay? I will be right there with you. And if they cast him as Roderick Kingsley and then don't make him Hobgoblin, I will be pissed. I will be so pissed. All right. CG's also not a big fan of the Punisher, being better as a foil than a lead. Yeah. Sith Apple, hey man, good to see you. Welcome. Spider-Man Brand New Day. Oh, what is this? Is this a link to the synopsis? Hold on. 4 years have passed since the events of No Way Home. Oh my God. Okay, well then why? Why did MJ and Ned delay their admission to MIT for 4 years? Like, I think that's a legitimate question, and one that I want an answer to before I'm going to take a lot of this seriously now. Like, what the hell, All right. I thought that No Way Home had Norman say that Harry doesn't exist in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. However, I guess it's possible Norman just didn't know where to look. Yeah. That's the way I would read it. Oh, hi. Hello. She really wants me to to let her into the kitchen, and it's not gonna happen. I love this kitty, but I'm not gonna let her into the kitchen. So okay. Let's see. I don't think the symbiote will be a major part of this film. Mesozoic is saying this, but he does think it'll be a side plot. Yeah, I think so, or at least we'll get some kind of a check-in, you know. CG, it's funny that you say that because Keith David played Tombstone before. He voiced Tombstone in his first appearance in the Spectacular Oh! Oh! Did he only voice him for that one appearance? Oh. Okay, yeah. I can't believe I didn't know that, actually. All right. You were talking about Has Been Hotel because Keith David plays a character in it. Oh, okay. I have not watched Has Been Hotel, so yeah, I wouldn't know that. Okay, and of course the cursor likes to jump ahead. Rogue is a popular theory right now, but it could just be a silly Easter egg. See, that's kind of my inclination. Like, it was just a visual Easter egg, but, you know. Is Anna Paquin in Doomsday? I don't know. Someone look that up and let me know. I don't remember if all the original... No, I don't think all the original X-Men are in it. I don't think Hugh Jackman is in it, is he? All right, there's Queen Trouble, yeah. Oh, she's like, I'm sorry, Dad. Yes, the excuse me taps, classic. Yeah, no. She's she's trying to get my attention because she wants me to do some things for her. Like, she might want treats, all right? I don't know, guys. Should I give this bad girl some treats? You guys want me to give Trouble some treats? I'll do that if you guys can give me at least let's say a dozen cats and a dozen crowns in the chat. So I'll let you guys throw those in there if you want to, though. All right. I didn't get the lion reference. I'm so sorry. Oh no, the Mrs. Lion reference is that was the name of Aunt May's dog in the... She had this tiny little dog called Miss Lion in Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends. And yeah. So when he said Miss Lion, I was like, oh God, I remember who that is, you know. All right, starts with dealing with a person in a chair in a cell. Okay, all right, 142 to 144. Hold on. There's the kiss to Aunt May's grave. God damn, they squeeze a lot of frames into a lot of scenes into 1 second, you know? Oh, okay. Okay, so I don't know who that is in the chair that you're referring to. But a couple of things. One, I mean, it could be someone in a Supermax facility. They could have carved out a specific cell specifically for him. But I'm going to wager that it's not Kingpin. And the reason that I say that, hold on. There we go. Okay. I mean, I'm no expert on Vincent D'Onofrio's hands, but I don't know. I mean, they are the hands of a white person. I will say that. And it could be it could be a white male, I don't know if it is a large white male, though. I mean, for all we know, it could be a different version of Doc Ock, you know? The master planner, as it were. So, but yeah, thank you for pointing that out. I hadn't really noticed that element before, Alan, so much appreciated. The suit color's green, Scorpion or Green Goblin. I mean, those are possibilities. Doc Ock is another possibility. So many of Spider-Man's villains have green as a major color, component color in their costume. I mean, Mysterio has green. Who else? The Jackal. Sandman because of his shirt. Yeah, even Electro. So, I mean, there are many possibilities there. So, all right. Mesozoic, I think I saw that comic. Peter took his black suit off and, oh yeah, that's the one. That's the one. That is a damn good story. Yes, though his motivation was because Kingpin hired the human who tried to kill Peter in a motel, who dodged the shoot. Yeah, see, that's the reason that scene is so satisfying, because if the Kingpin had not tried to order Peter assassinated in the wake of his identity being exposed during during the events of Civil War, it wouldn't have put him in the situation that he got into in One More Day. So between Civil War and One More Day, we had Back in Black, and Peter, when he found out that the Kingpin was the one that sent the assassin whose bullet shot Aunt May, he basically went to where Fisk was being held in prison, beat the snot out of, I mean, God, humiliated him in front of an audience of criminals, and then basically forced his mouth open, stuck his web shooter like close to his mouth, and basically said, I could kill you. He's like, I shoot this down your mouth, into your throat, into your lungs. This stuff dissolves in about an hour, but I don't think you'd be able to go without air for that long. And he basically told him, he's like, if my Aunt May dies because of what you've done, I'm going to come back here. And I'm going to do this again. And then I will do this to you. It was like scary, but it was like so good. It was so good. All right, let's see. They waited 4 years because MJ had to work in her coffee shop in No Way Home. Oh, God. Anna Paquin isn't one of the X-Men members that has been announced for Doomsday. Okay. Yeah, I'm not surprised. So far, there have been 7 X-Men cast members announced for Doomsday, but they could be saving others for surprise appearances. Yes. And hopefully they could. Spider-Man's true weakness is the color green. I mean, you never know, you know? All right. Has-been is fun, but be very careful talking about it online. People will tear you apart on there. I mean, I get like a dozen people maybe who come to my YouTube channel, so I'm not that worried about it. Could be Peter because of the mutation. The hands are young. Ooh. I mean, I guess that's not impossible. Oh my God, what about a clone? Oh God, no clones, no clones. You know they'll do clones at some point, right? It is, for better or worse, a staple in Spider-Man narrative milestones. It just is, you know? All right. Mesozoic is heading off. All right, man. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it so much. Thanks for the heads up on the trailer. Hope you enjoyed the discussion. This was this was, wow, this was a lot of fun. And I spent nearly 3 hours yapping to you guys about this trailer. So yeah, I had some things to say about it, and hopefully you guys enjoyed it. I really do think. Now, I will say this, all right? If and when I get around to cutting this into a video, there's going to be the video will contain the part that contains all of the trailer analysis. All of this, all of the discussion that we're having is not going to be on there, all right? I might take one or two like lines and put them in there, maybe. But for the most part, like this stuff is just for you guys on stream. Now, what will happen to this stream eventually is that if I do cut this into a video and then upload it, a shortened version of it, then this stream would go behind a paywall. All right. It'd go behind like a membership wall. I realize some of you don't have memberships. And if I had any way to give some people memberships, I would. But YouTube is very random in how you do it. If I pay for a subscription to my channel, it just gives it to someone randomly who is subscribed. I don't have any way of selecting who gets it. So, those of you who are able to catch me on the live streams, you get to at least take part in this and be a part of it. So I hope that's not too disappointing if and when that comes to pass. And in the meantime, if you want to access this live stream later, you'll have until I cut it into a video. And again, I don't know when or even if that's going to happen. I just don't have a lot of time these days. But, it may. So I figured you guys deserve to know that. So I just figured I'd tell you. Multiple Tom Hollands running around. Is that a bad thing? I mean, I've gotten to meet the guy and shake his hand and take a picture with him. So I based on what little interaction I've had with him, I think he's a good guy. Which, by the way, let me go ahead and just trot this out. It's me and Tom Holland. It's me and Tom Holland. It's me and Tom Holland. We're at a Comic-Con. So anyways, this is, I think this is from like 2018, I want to say. I think it was like right after Infinity War and before Endgame. So, but I got to have my picture taken with Tom Holland. It cost a pretty penny, but it was a bucket list item for me. So, Anyways, I just wanted to go ahead and show you guys that. And I don't know, maybe make you just a little bit jealous. I don't know. So anyways, guys, this has been a lot of fun. I hope you guys have enjoyed this discussion as much as I have. What do you guys think of this? Do you like the idea? Like, because this could be something I do. I don't really do trailer reactions anymore, and I said why at the beginning of the stream. But like if I were to do trailer analysis and breakdowns of certain trailers, like I would probably be very picky about which ones I did. But would that be something you guys would be interested in? You could join me for the live streams. I won't restrict them. And then after I make the video to upload, then I'll put the original live stream, now a VOD, behind the paywall, but then you'll have the edited and shortened video. I don't know. Tell me what you think about that, because honestly, it's something I could see myself doing. I'll definitely do it for Spider-Man movies. But I mean, like, I could probably do it for like other superhero movies too. I don't know. If again, let me know if that's something that you think would be fun to be a part of, something that you think I could put out that other people would watch. Let me know. Like, I think, I had a lot of fun doing this, but me having fun doesn't always pay the bills, so to speak. So But let me know. Wolf says, "Oh, that rocks." Okay, all right. I'll keep it under consideration. Hit me up with movies, you know, like in the trailer suggestion channel on my Discord server. And when you tag me, let me know if you think I would do a good analysis of it, you know, especially if it's not like a superhero movie or something. So gunning for Toby and Andrew next. Oh God. I don't know, as expensive as Tom Holland was, I don't know, like Toby and Andrew were probably even more expensive. So, but we'll see. Nothing's impossible, right? So anyway, guys, I'm going to get going. This has been a lot of fun. I hope you guys have a good rest of the evening. I may or may not stream some video gameplay in a little bit, but at least for now, I'm going to take a little break, maybe get a snack. But thanks again for being here. I appreciate it so much, guys. Take care. This is Spidey Librarian, and until my next stream or upload, I'll be wishing you a good day. Bye.